This week we're finishing Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey, otherwise known as Is This Book a Boomer?
Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine, the book pod where we celebrate the heroines we love
and roast the ones we don't. We'll be your TBR FGMs.
Fairy godmothers.
And find you the best 5-star reads, the spiciest romance, and save you from the overhyped DNFs.
So grab your favorite drink and get cozy. Welcome to Season 3. All right, readers. It's going to be a bit much for part 3 of Dragonflight.
Yeah. I feel like reading it was a bit much. There was a lot. It was digestible, I will say, but there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. Because basically, going right into it so we get this craziness addressed. Right at the front, all of the lords have decided that, enough is enough. They are done with these dragons. There's no need for them. And so they raise up their armies and they come to whatever, where headquarters or whatever. And they're like, hey, go fuck yourself. You keep taking our kids all of a sudden. You're taking all of the, women, and they, aren't even alive anymore. We haven't heard from them. What the fuck is going on? And so Falar shows up on his dragon with all the other dragons out in, flight formation or whatever. And they're like, you can try. And they're like, holy shit, we've never seen so many dragons at once. They just popped out of nowhere.
I think you forgot what a dragon was, my bud.
Honestly, yeah. And so they're all kind of nervous, but then they also kind of show off all of their hostages. And they're like, well, I mean, you guys could continue with your ill-fated, desire to take over, but we'll also kill all of your hostages, which are your guys' family members. So try again. And then at the end, Lessa shows up at the end to show off her giant queen dragon, and some of the writers are upset because she's not supposed to be flying at all, but she pops up and it seals the deal. They're like, actually, we will send you whatever you would like. Please don't kill us. And basically that's great, and it establishes better tithes, because Lessa is starting to get nervous. Falar's starting to get nervous because they're like, okay, it's been 400 years without another threat of Threadfall or whatever. It's got to be fucking soon. And the signs are appearing. And so Falar was also upset that Lessa just decided to show up and fly her dragon, even though that's illegal. And so he's like, I am going to show you how to, properly fly so you don't try to do something crazy and then die, because the queen dragon is our only chance for survival, especially with this threat of threads. And so he shows her how to teleport. What is the word for it?
They just go between is what they call it.
Oh, geez. Teleport.
Yep.
And so she does it once and she's like, okay, cool. And so she decides that she wants to go back to Ruatha, her homeland, so that she can see what's going on. And she can check in on the little brat that, she doesn't want to survive, but she's also it's probably for the best. And so she teleports, and it takes a while, but she gets to Ruatha and she's like, yay. But then she sees herself walk out into the Watchware's den, and then she watches all of these little climbers come up the keep walls, and she's like, what the fuck am I watching? And then she realizes that the red sun or whatever wasn't in the spot that it was supposed to be in when she left, and she's like, I have traveled back through time. What the fuck?
Because what she had pictured was the Ruatha in her brain, which is the Ruatha from 10 years ago, and that's what she conveyed to her dragon. And it didn't work. And so it's all circular. And this is what I hate about time travel, is because her going back in time at this exact moment is what alerted the Watchware to not be quiet and to allow little baby Lessa into his den.
Oh, yeah. So she realized she was the one that made her family die.
Yeah. And also saved her. But it doesn't work because time travel doesn't work.
Yeah.
I hate it as a plot device.
I will say the third Harry Potter was my favorite, and they have
the time turners?
Yeah, they do. That does happen. They do save themselves.
It's fine. So she has this realization that this is a thing that she can do, but Flare back in modern times is freaking out because they can't find her anywhere. So she finally makes it back and she's very shaken. And so Flare kind of restrains his anger and says, all right, peace, where did you go? And she explains what happens. And I think it's commendable in the character design that Flare does not have an unreasonable reaction. He's like, okay, he believes her, and he's like, okay, how do we use this? And some of the backstory that we kind of did not talk about in part 1 is that there's only one dragonware left, but there used to be like 5, and they used to be scattered across all the continents. But they, at some point, 400 years in the past, they all disappeared with like no trace. And so no one knows what happened. I wonder why we're talking about it now.
Time travel. And so after this tidbit, I think the next crazy thing that happens is like someone was out on a patrol in one of the like farther reaches, and they come back and they're like, I am covered in this disgusting black dust. Like, what do you want, Falar? Like, I want to go shower. And Falar is like, what? And it's basically like the first concrete sign that the threads are about to appear. Like they start as like a dust because they, I'm assuming, like burn up in the atmosphere before they can like get down or something. And so he's like, uh-oh, like we have arrived at Armageddon, basically. But so they have their like first actual interaction with the threads, and they have this like big battle. They've like basically, they use like brimstone.
Yeah,
like,
so the dragons chew on brimstone, and by chewing on these rocks, they can spit fire and burn the threads.
Yeah, which, okay, cool. Anyways, so it's like all hands on deck. They fight off. One person dies, I think, and a bunch of dragons are injured. And they only have so many dragons available. And like Falar has done the math, and he realizes that in 4 days' time, I think the time thing gets really easy here. But in like 4 days' time, there's going to be another thread attack, and they don't have enough people and dragons available to like actually save the world, basically. And so they're like, well, we have this whole like time travel concept. What happens if maybe this new gold baby dragon that just like is about to hatch, what if we send the queen with her and this dragon back in time far enough in like a different place that they could like build up a bunch of new dragons, and then when we actually need them, we will have them come back and we'll like take care of the threads. And so they basically send Valar's like
brother, like half brother.
Yeah, and like the new
Fëanor.
And a queen back in time. And the way like time works is like they're at double time while in the
they realize too late that you can't exist in 2 timelines at once. Otherwise it gets really weird and starts to wear on like both figures. And the only way they figure this out is that Fëanor comes stumbling into the cave, but it's not the Fëanor that they know. And so Lessa and Falar had just developed this plan to send the queen and Fëanor into the past. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Fëanor comes in and he says, don't fucking do it.
Bad idea,
it's not going to work. And that's the Fëanor from 10 years ago that he had, like, time traveled back forward. He's like, this just can't work.
Yeah.
So that goes to shit.
I, like, don't really know how they, like, resolve that issue because, like, Fëanor pops back into their timeline, like, a couple times, and he has, like, updated messages that things, like, aren't that bad. And I'm assuming it's because of actions that they're taking in, like, the current timeline, but, like, I don't know how they, like, fix it. 'Cause there's some issue, like, the main dragon queen lady keeps wanting to, like, pop back in time to, like, watch herself. Like, what the fuck, first of all?
And there's a fun, like, little subplot there is that, so Rameth had laid another queen egg. And so one of the candidates that Lessa was competing against to bond with Rameth was this girl who's, like, kind of hot shit stuff, too. Like, probably would have been queen had Lessa not been there. And Falar had, like, a fling.
Yeah.
And she's also been sleeping with all, like, the bronze dragons and stuff. Well, not the dragons, the riders. Yeah.
Whoa.
And so she's kind of like the it girl in the wear.
Yeah.
And so, like, you either love her or hate her. And Lessa, like, to Lessa's credit also, she, like, doesn't hate her. She's a little jealous of her and, like, her relationship with Falar because she's also pregnant, I think.
Yeah. There's some kind of, like, further.
Yeah. So they sent her off. But she's also very, like you said, like, I want to go see how young I was back then.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's, like, freaky.
Weird.
But, like, they, like, do something, intervene in some aspect. I feel like after this is when we get the Lessa, like, they figure out there's some, like, tapestry, and they're like, wait a second, like, this has a bunch of, like, other dragons in it, and it was actually a sign that they made in the past to the future to tell the future people to go back in the past.
Yeah. So it was at Ruatha Hold, and Lessa remembers this tapestry in her brain, like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
So she goes back in time.
400 years?
I think she goes back in time to get the tapestry before it's burned.
Yeah.
She looks at it. She's like, oh, I have the solution. But she's not telling Falair about it because she's like, oh, he's not going to let me do this.
Yeah.
And then she thinks, okay, if I go back 400 years in the past, I'm going to find all the dragons and we can bring them forward because they're also trying to get this old technology.
Yeah, for a flamethrower.
So the riders can also battle instead of just hanging on for dear life.
Oh, that's where the tapestry came from because it had the flamethrowers on it. Oh, yeah. And then she's like, wait a second, this is like from like approximately 400 years ago.
So let's go back and find out what happens.
Yeah.
So she like sneaks off.
Yeah, because they were like talking about it hypothetically, and Falar is like we've never done this before. That's like probably unsafe.
Yeah.
I feel like something else happened. Someone pops in and they're like, you guys need to get your shit together. Like, we don't have a plan. And she's like, that's it. Last.
I think during the last thread fall, like one of the threads made it to ground and started burrowing and like just ruined a bunch of crops. And so like we don't have enough dragons to battle everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Lestel is like, all right, guess it's on me now. So she goes 400 years in the past.
Woof.
And when they describe going in between, it's, you hold your breath and then you appear. She's like holding her breath for minutes to make this jump.
Because she has like a little like disconnect from her body and like almost goes crazy. And then her dragon's like, no, we're good, man. But it's like that it would be kind of scary to just like pop in between times.
And not know if you can come back out.
Yeah. Or even if you're like going to the right place.
Ugh.
Nope. But she like pops into reality and she sees some like people with dragons and she's like, thank fuck this worked. And they're like, who the fuck are you, first of all? And then she passes out.
And then she wakes up a few days later and she starts explaining things and they believe her.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
They're like, sure, cool.
And they had just finished battling the last Threadfall.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all kind of sitting around thinking, well, we're going to be bored for the rest of our lives. And
I love that as a concept.
Right? And so she's like, the threads are about to fall. We need help. And there are all these warrior dragons are like, yeah, we'll go.
Sure.
They convince 1,800 dragons and riders to jump 400 years to the future and I thought this was brilliant. This is a little bit of sci-fi. Is they use constellations, the movement of the stars, to predict what years they're going to jump to. So they don't break it up into like a 400-year jump. They do, okay, we're going to do 21 years and then 12 years and then 20 years because this is where the stars will be. We'll just picture where the star will be and that's where we'll jump to.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, who comes up with that kind of stuff?
Anne McCaffrey, apparently.
Yeah. If only she could come up with more romance. That's
I know,
all.
honestly. Ugh. Yeah, you come up with this whole, like, somewhat convoluted but, like, pretty coherent time travel plot line, but, like, we don't get any romance.
Oh, come on. Cater to your modern readers.
Boo. Well, I mean, it was written, 70 years ago?
Oh.
Wow.
What?
Yucky. Oh, my God.
So, 68, so...
Oh, okay, no, I was thinking of the 50 book.
60.
Okay,
yeah.
but
Still. So
Does that make this book a boomer?
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh.
Some of the things they say about women make sense now.
That tracks. So they jump successfully 400 years. And as this is happening, Falair is losing his mind. And this is like the little tiny tidbit of romance that you get in this book, which is like, oh, he's panicked not because he lost the queen, but because he lost Lessa.
Yeah.
So he's just worried. And you get like inklings of emotion. And
it's like the Corlath moment where he like thinks that Harry went off to die. Harry Solo went off to die.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck.
That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The Corlath moment.
Uh-huh. And then he's like, I'm so fucking pissed off at you, but like, I love you too.
Please live.
But they do live, obviously. All the dragons pop up and they kill all the threads and they're like, this is great. And then they bring their flamethrowers too. And there's this sub-character guy who's like a smith.
Like a mechanic.
Yeah. And he's like, these are fucking cool.
Right? I did like that. Like,
yeah.
you flamethrowers, excuse me?
Yep. And that's basically
end. We're glossing over a lot of plot here.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all you really need to know because you're either going to love this book or you're going to hate it or you're going to be kind of meh in between.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you read for romance and characters, this isn't the book for you.
No.
And especially I think if you're a diehard Fourth Wing fan, you're not going to like this book.
Unless I feel like if you read it like a historical artifact, I feel like you'll be like, oh, okay. I see the like where we began.
This is not a reading for vibes book.
No,
it's
absolutely not. No. I will say if you read this and you're like, okay, like I get it. You should try the Mistborn series.
Okay.
It's like a very similar kind of like vibe, but there's a lot more character development because the main character in that one, she starts off as a beggar or a thief or something, and then she gets adopted into this like revolutionary crime family
Oh,
that are
wow.
trying to like pull a heist on this like godlike dude who's in charge of like the entire world, and like there's like slavery and they're trying to create like an uprising. It's like super trippy sci-fi stuff, but it's
Huh.
like interesting because they use her as like a con man to go into these like balls and stuff. So she like dresses up and tries to be like a high society lady, and she meets a prince who's like a book nerd, and they have this like kind
Aw.
of like forbidden romance, but it's like she's also moonlighting as like a revolutionary. And they all have
Wow.
like superpowers basically where you eat like bits of metals and then you can like do superpowers with them. It's cool. The second one wasn't as good. The first one though, excellent. Very similar to this, but
No.
like more development.
I might. I keep seeing reels with Brandon Sanderson giving him giving lectures, and he's brilliant.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try. I was thinking, so if you like more high fantasy and more literature-ish style writing, there's a book called Song in the Silence by Elizabeth Kerner. And this is about dragons. Again, like I'm just going to give you a bunch of dragon recommendations.
Dragons.
But this is a romance between a dragon and a woman, and it's a forbidden romance. There's no sex or anything because it's like it's
weird.
it's like an intellectual, emotional romance where they find like this dragons and humans have not like been compatible, and it's like almost like a race issue, and so it's this forbidden romance because humans hate dragons and vice versa, and he manages to turn into a human at the end.
Oh, so it's like Beauty and the Beast.
It's very, very sweet. It's one of my favorite like dragon books. It's just it requires, like Juliette Marillier, requires a little bit more thought to get into it.
Yeah.
Dealing with Dragons is YA, but it's super cute. It's about like a female dragon and a princess who's sacrificed to her, but they end up having a bond.
Yeah. Well, who is that by?
Patricia C. Wrede.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've talked about this before.
I mean, Fourth Wing, obviously. But there is a Grace Draven book that is a dragon book.
Excuse me?
I think it's called Wyvern.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the cover before.
So that is pure dragon romance. The dragon can shapeshift, so that's that's your answer right there.
Did you ever read the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik?
No, I did not. I know which one you're talking about, though.
Yeah, I feel like they're having like a moment right now, though, because I keep seeing them in Barnes and Noble, like shoved towards the front. I think it's probably like the Fourth Wing effect, but I have basically loved everything written by Naomi Novik, so I feel like I'll enjoy it. But I haven't taken the dive.
It's not romantasy, I don't think.
Oh,
it's about a dude. Not to say that you can't have romantasy about a dude, but it's not. Yeah, that's why I haven't read it.
That's fair.
But I do think more men, like husbands and boyfriends, are getting into romantasy now that they know what it's about. So that could be pushing that agenda.
Yeah, that is true.
And one final recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
If you love Anne McCaffrey and you like this world, actually, can you pull that book out behind you? It's to the right a little bit and keep going. There we go. So what's it called?
Nerilka story.
Okay, so this is
Anne McCaffrey looks so fucking cute.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So if you want more romance, that's what this book is. And it's not about a dragon queen. It's about like the sweet best friend of like a tenant farmer, and she goes and saves like a hold. But it's like a cute little side quest Pern story.
Yeah. Totally unrelated to anything, but Anne McCaffrey looks like the mom in Dairy Girls.
Oh.
The like blonde.
Yeah.
Doesn't she?
Aww.
She looks like an older version. I love Dairy Girls. I don't know that I will read this.
No,
but
I read it once. That's it.
Oh, interesting. So it's not like a
It's not like a favorite, but like it's intriguing. Like that's what I mean. Like if you like Anne McCaffrey and that's like the reading mindset you're in, this is it's a side quest.
I could see that because I will say like her writing style is like good. Like it's enjoyable. It's interesting. I just like I'm in my like romance era, so
I will say I read Anne McCaffrey a lot as a teenager, and as you work through her catalog, the books that are written later in the 70s and 80s get way more raunchy.
I love raunchy as a word to describe a sweet old lady.
I mean, they do kind of grow up and grow modern with the times.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's kind of Like, it makes sense because it's probably more, like, acceptable for her to write, like, silly little smutty scenes.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah, without being, like, burned at the stake. It's like, oh. I wonder, I am going to show my ass a little bit, not literally. Does that line up with, like, the second wave of feminism?
I think so, because the 80s is all about the, like, power, career
Yeah.
woman can have it all.
Yeah, interesting. I bet there's some kind of, like, doctoral thesis about, like, the intersection between, like, second wave feminism and, like, erotica.
Yeah.
Interesting. If we have any, like, doctor readers, like, if you could, like, hit us up, I will pay for whatever research paper.
We're not literature people. We just read.
I just, like, am interested. I'm in my, Google Scholar era, too.
Love that. So, what are we reading next?
What are we reading next? Oh!
I'm asking.
We are reading
We
next!
Yes, we are reading more.
We are reading the Cruel Prince series. I'm very excited. It's been a hot minute since I've read these books. Like, I feel like I forgot some of the plot lines and people talk about it, and I'm like, that doesn't happen. What are you talking about?
They're just so good. And the poll we did on our Patreon, we asked, like, what epic trilogy series do you want us to read? And this was the primary answer. So if you do want to influence kind of what we're reading through the rest of the year, you can kind of check out those polls on our Patreon. But yes, The Cruel Prince is next, followed by Katie, Tuesday.
Oh. So if you subscribe to us on Patreon, you'll also get access to our Tawdry Tuesday episodes, which are more on the NSFW end of the spectrum, where we talk about very smutty books. And the one that we are talking about next makes me want to die.
I had to pull, it was like pulling teeth. I could not get readers. It took me like 5 minutes of pleading for Katie to admit the title of this next one.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about, obviously, a Harry Potter fan fiction, Meet Me in Dreamland. I will not be responsible for the corruption of the masses, but if you want to read it, we're going to talk about it. Just know that you are signing up for a very slutty story. It's good, but boy, is it a little bit humiliating to tell the world that I've read this.
Come on, a sensual summoning,
girl. Just wait.
The Dixon rule.
Just wait. Honestly, this does not even compare. So that is coming in April.
All right, readers, from our shelf to yours.
We'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. Like what you've been hearing? Check out the Spice Archive at notanotherheroine.com to see all of our reviews and ratings. And if you'd like to support our growing library, find us on Patreon and get access to exclusive bonus content.
If you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.